Serious, what is the creepiest thing that has ever happened to you? A couple of years ago, I saw two rather large men having an argument in the street in front of my house. After a couple of minutes, they drove off and went their separate ways. I didn't think anything of it until the next day when I get a knock on my door. It turns out that one of my roommates had been sleeping with a married woman and her husband somehow found where we lived and was at our house with a shotgun to kill the guy who banged his wife. The dude had a couple of priors that definitely lent the threat some credibility. The man at the door was his dad, who told me that the argument was him talking his son down. He told me that he showed up as his son was getting out of the car. He asked me if I was the guy in question and I said I wasn't. He said, "Oh, you're the roommate? He was going to kill you too." Turns out my other roommate had done some things with the young lady as well. The kicker is that I was home alone at the time. Basically, I unknowingly watched a man talk down my future murderer from my dining room window. TL, Doctor, I watched a man spend around 5 minutes convincing someone to not murder me and I didn't even know. My SO was in an accident, which demolished her car. After the accident, we stored the car in our driveway with a tarp covering it until the insurance towed it and etc. She was in Canada for a convention, which left me and the dogs alone at home for the weekend. When I got home from work, I thought it was a good idea to call my parents to catch up. The wind was intense that day and blew the tarp off of the passenger side of the car. As I am speaking with my parents, I decide to pull the tarp back over the car. I'm talking with my parents and listening to them describe their day when I hear a faint voice saying, "Hey!" I have no idea where it is coming from until I look down. There is a man sitting in my car. I have never seen this man before, but he looks at me and asks, "Where's Dan and Isaac?" Now, I don't know either of those people and I told him that I did not. I can see he has all of the personal items from the car in his lap. I start telling him that he needs to get out of the car and leave. Then I see the pepper spray in his hands, which was left by my SO. I knew at that moment that my day would end with being pepper sprayed. So I tell my parents to call the cops. He steps out of the car asking, "Where is the ice?" I just tell him that he has the wrong place and grab the CD case out of his hands. He reaches for the pepper spray and I back up, quick. He stops and says, "I'll be back, bro. Just you watch." I watch him walk off and for a brief moment he starts yelling at a tree down the street. The cops came and he was found up the road, but the officers could not find my stuff. The experience definitely freaked me out for the rest of the night. DL, Doctor, in my wrecked vehicle, I found a man armed with pepper spray. I worked at a campground over the summer and I agreed to do security watch on the Tuesday after Labor Day. It's completely empty all day long and we spent most of the day cleaning and repairing various items in the campground. It was also a family campground with tons of things to do like zip lining, paintballing, go-karting, and hiking. It was relatively large, approximately 50 square acres. Anyways, I'm doing security, which mostly consists of driving around in a golf cart, and making sure people aren't doing anything. That night, a motion sensor went off on the upper loop, which had been out of use since July for renovations. Usually when a motion sensor goes off, it's a raccoon or a deer, but we have to check anyways. I make my way up to the motion sensor, which was going off constantly on my way up, and logged it on our notebook. When I got up there was this fucking lady's voice singing in the middle of the night. I walk around and head towards it. Bad idea, there was this 40-something meth head in a dress walking around singing. She saw me and chased after me. I ran as fast as I could to the golf cart and took off down to the main office. I called the police, but they were going to be close to an hour. I stayed locked up in the office until they got there. She paced around the front door and screamed at me the whole time. When they got there, they arrested her and we went up to the same loop where she was to look for more. I swear, looking for more meth heads was more terrifying than being chased by her. She had been living in one of the yurts we had yet to get to for over 2 months. She looked like a witch. The yurt was destroyed and we ended up burning it down. DL, Doctor, worked security at a campground and fucking found a crazy meth head. I'm sure most of this thread will be about spooky/paranormal experiences. I've had some sleep paralysis experiences that were creepy, but by far the creepiest experience I've had was just another human being having a straight-up lack of boundaries. I was 18, in college and living with my boyfriend in our first apartment. He had left for an early class and I had the day off, so I was sleeping in. I awoke to a man I didn't know sitting on the end of my bed staring at me. When he saw me wake up, he said, "It's time to get up now," and just kept looking at me. I was trying to figure out if I was awake or dreaming and if there was anything I could do to avoid getting raped and murdered. He just kept sitting and looking. I figured out I was awake and also remembered that I was sleeping naked, so I didn't want to get up unless he made a move. After what felt like a lifetime of silence, but was probably only a minute, he said it again. "It's time to get up now." I said okay, still too shocked and scared to figure out that I could ask him who he was or tell him to leave or start screaming for help. He got up and walked out of the room and I heard voices in my kitchen. He left my bedroom door open when he left, so I still didn't want to get up because of the naked thing. After a few minutes I built up the courage to wrap a blanket around myself, grab some clothes, and dash to the bathroom. As I passed the door I saw him standing in the kitchen doorway and just staring into my room, watching me run for the bathroom. I got dressed and began to slowly make my way towards my cell phone. I had to pass him and my kitchen where I could now hear 3 male voices in order to get to where it was plugged in. As I passed, I saw that 2 of the men were in plumber's outfits and half of my kitchen was soaking wet. It turns out my upstairs neighbors had burst a pipe and these men were here to fix it and needed to access the problem pipe through my ceiling. The man sitting on my bed was with the realty company and had let them in. He says they knocked but I never heard it and no one had called either myself or my boyfriend to say they were coming over. I have no idea why he thought that was an appropriate way to wake me up or why he didn't feel the need to explain who he was or what was going on. Needless to say, we broke our lease and found somewhere else to live after that. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please press the like button. Also, if you are interested in more, please subscribe and turn on the bell to get notified when a new video is dropped.